Hello and welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Ayşe Süberker. The PKK terrorist organization poses a threat to the security of Turkey and Iraq, and the two countries have vowed to unite for the protection of their borders. A delegation, including both countries' top officials, met in Baghdad last week and announced they had agreed to set up a joint committee against terrorism. This comes after Ankara ramped up cross-border operations against the PKK as it signals there is more to come. This was the second round of talks between Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan, his Iraqi counterpart, and their delegations since December. In a statement after the summit, Turkey welcomed the Iraq National Security Council's official designation of the PKK as an outlawed group. The two sides also discussed what's called the Development Road project, which would connect the Gulf to Turkey through Iraq once completed. Other issues on the agenda were trade, agriculture and energy, as resumption of the two nations' oil pipeline operations were also evaluated. And now the Turkish president's upcoming and rare visit to Iraq is considered another step forward to improve bilateral relations between Ankara and Baghdad. And for more on the Turkish delegation's visit to Baghdad, joining me now from Rome is Marco Carnelos. He is the former Italian ambassador to Iraq. And from Istanbul, Helin Sarı Ertem, an associate professor at Medeniyet University. A warm welcome to you both, and thanks for joining me on Straight Talk. Marco, after a round of meetings between the Turkish and Iraqi officials, Iraq has designated the PKK terror organization as an outlawed organization. What's the importance of this decision, and is this a turning point in Turkiye-Iraq relations?
Well, it's quite important if you consider what is at stake in the region. As we all know, Turkey has a big interest with Iraq in creating a corridor going from the Persian Gulf to Turkey and then from Europe. This corridor cannot work properly if the threat of PKKs continue to exist in northwestern Iraq and southwestern Turkey. So this is probably the decision that was long overdue at a certain stage. But at the same time, the delegation visit to Baghdad at such technical level, but also political, the foreign minister, the intelligence chief, and also the defense minister, implies the fact that the Turkish authority need to understand and agree with the Iraqi ones a possible solution that create a situation in the ground that the PKK cannot be a threat to this corridor, as the Houthis has been a threat to the Suez Canal corridor. So I believe this kind of a deal, this kind of visit, so with so many people, are useful in order to agree rules on the ground how the campaign, if a campaign is going to take place, should take place, and agree with certain red lines with the Iraqi authorities, not to have a relationship that is going to deteriorate, because we know that Iraqi authorities, on one hand, they have a problem of sovereignty when the Turkish incursion in northern Iraq, but at the same time have a big compelling interest in making this corridor works, because it is of the both countries.
So, Helin, Marco just mentioned the Development Road project, which was agreed between the two countries. But before going into that, what do you think? I mean, what does Turkey want to achieve to launch a comprehensive military operation into Iraq, since the PKK terror organization is said to have been isolated to a great extent?
So we are talking about an era in which most of the countries in the Middle East and in many other countries, many other regions as well, let's say, are talking about a kind of corridor era. So Turkey is trying to create another one, which is called as Development Road project, which is trying to combine the Basra Channel, let's say, the Gulf with the Turkish territories, and afterwards Turkey will continue to be a kind of opening zone for Iraq as well, for the other regional countries as well, to the European continent. So there are many things that Turkey can promise to the countries, to the regional countries, and from time to time in the past as well, we have witnessed that all these neighbors, including Turkey, Syria, Iraq, they all went through very good times, very positive atmospheres in which we could talk about a win-win approach. So I think, in my opinion, Turkey is trying to create this win-win approach again. And the first condition before that is to at least minimize as much as possible, and if possible to annihilate at all the PKK terror problem in the region. And for that, Turkey and Iraq should achieve a kind of compromise regarding calling this terror organization, as an outlaw organization, which we achieved. This is a success for Turkish foreign policy, yes, which means Iraq will give a kind of green light to Turkey for the future moves of Turkish military in Iraqi territory.
So, Marco, Iran and Iraq signed a similar deal in August 2023 to disarm and relocate the PKK terrorists. Is this part of a coordinated effort to eliminate the PKK elements from northern Iraq? And where do you think they would go?
Well, in my view, it's an important step, but it's still quite difficult to assess the impact in the future. We have been, for example, how many times other organizations like Hamas have been put on the margin, but they have still been very, very active. As I repeat again, I said earlier, PKK constitutes a problem, not only for the security of Turkey, for its eastern region, but also for this major development project that is taking place between Iraq and Turkey. And I think that Turkish authorities should not let one single stone unturned with PKK if they need to achieve this important developments. That, by the way, is a development road that is going to challenge 3 parallel corridors, two existing, and one that is in the making, the so-called IMEC corridor from India to Europe. Mm-hmm. So it's becoming an area of competing trade corridor. And I understand that Turkey and Iraq, they do not want to be left out from this new great game in this region.
So, Helin, talk to us about the importance of this project. I mean, could it present a stronger alternative to the current shipping routes like the Red Sea, which has seen attacks on commercial ships by the Houthis due to Israel's war on Gaza? And could it, if materialized, shall the IMEC initiative, as Marco just mentioned, initiated by Israel and the United Arab Emirates?
Well, there are some challenges, of course, before Turkey's project, but this is a very significant project. And for that reason, I believe Turkey will do its best, at least to guarantee and persuade the regional actors like Iraq and the others to follow on this path, because this is a significant path. This is shorter, and the only thing is not about being shorter, or it's also about being feasible if we can guarantee the security of the region. And as I said before, the main condition before that is annihilation of the PKK terrorism. And of course, there will be rivalries. Of course, there will be competition between countries, Gulf countries, or the greater countries like India. However, in my point of view, every country will do and have the possibility, or at least the chance to do what they can in order to guarantee their recommendations, their paths that they are offering. So I don't think that there is anything which will make us to move a step backwards, but Turkey will continue to move forward in order to guarantee the use of this alternative path from the Gulf to Turkish territories.
So, Marco, what do you think? This project is expected to cost around $17 billion. I mean, are there any regional countries interested in this project's financing? And is this a viable project?
The project is interesting, definitely, also because I don't personally believe a HIMEC project is going to be effective. There are too many logistical problems in making that project valuable, especially for private investors. We have a very consolidated route that is the Suez one. Mm-hmm. The other one that is going from Pakistan through Iran until Russia, for obvious geopolitical reasons, is quite complicated at the moment, even in getting international financial institution financing. The one between Iraq and Turkey is short, is quite promising. What is important is to address two big challenges. One we already talked about is PKK in southeastern Turkey and northwestern Iraq. But the other one is to achieve an effective governance and cooperation from the Iraqi authorities. There are a lot of problems in governance, in corruption, in, rivalries between different political parties and factions in Iraq that make this problem a nightmare.
So, Helen, what could you tell us about the timing of all of these discussions and this Baghdad visit, which comes as both neighbors try to resolve the oil pipeline dispute? I mean, what's next on the Kirkuk-Ceyhan oil pipeline, which remains closed now over a year?
Turkey has been always promising a lot to the regional countries, and one of them is the energy issue. And although there's a kind of a problem between Turkey and the Baghdad administration, central administration of Iraq, regarding the flow of oil, and this is mainly because of the compensation issue that somehow damaged the relations between two capitals, let's say. I think Foreign Minister Fidan and other Turkish ministers' visit to Iraq is mainly also to get rid of this compensation issue, somehow to create a kind of compromise between the two sides in order to make the flow restart again.
Mm-hmm. So, Marco, as I understand, the resumption of oil exports hinges on the achieving a consensus between Ankara and Baghdad, but a lasting solution could only be reached, or let's say cemented, through a trilateral agreement with Erbil. So, how do you think the process will play out, and where do you think Erbil stands?
First of all, let me emphasize that the success of this initiative is also in Europe's interest, not only of the three or the different regional entities that are involved. As we know, we as Europeans, Western Europe, since we stopped getting energy supply from Russia, we are searching to have a reliable energy supply wherever we can get them. So it's from Northern Africa, is of course from Gulf countries, but at the same time, we should not exclude that Iraq, via Turkey, could provide also another important lifeline of energy. And so in itself, what Europe has just done with Egypt a few days ago with Prime Minister Meloni and President of European Commission von der Leyen, where there was also an energy side and a big deal agreed with Egypt, should follow the same step with Turkey. And Europe already deal with Turkey, but it was a deal mainly focused on the refugees. Now we should be a little bit more over-ambitious, should not focus ourselves only on refugees, because we know that at the end of the day, refugees are the result of geopolitical problems created by mistakes made by different nations in the area.
All right, Marco and Helen, unfortunately, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.